Ultramarathon, it's a very simple term. All it is anything over 26.2 miles. You talk to people and they're like, oh, they hate running. That's my therapy. You know, some people go to the gym, that's their therapy. For me, that's my time to what I consider getting vertical with God, and time to pray and just reflect on the life that I did come from and to see where I'm at now.
Tyler is the most steadfast, dedicated person I've ever met. So if he gets his mind set on something, he's gonna make sure it gets done.
Told my wife, I was like, hey, I think I'm gonna do these 100-mile races. And she goes, I don't expect anything less. And that's typically the response I get from her.
You know, being the best husband and being the best dad that he can be, the best runner. Whatever it is that day, it's however he can be the best at it that he can be.
The Viper 200. This is the first year of the Viper, so nobody has ever ran this, so nobody really knows what to expect. There's no videos to watch. It'll take place on April 2nd down in Cordova, Tennessee, pretty close to Memphis. It's about 75% trail, 25% on pavement, 6-loop course, so I think it's 33.3 miles per loop down in Shelby Farms Park. The training for an ultramarathon can really vary on the type of person. I have actually hired a coach, Mark Bottenhorn. Training is year-round. He's doing things that I would never have done. I'm doing back-to-back 100-mile weeks at this point. So typically on a day, for me right now, I'm anywhere from 12 to 25 miles a day.
So he was running when I met him. I didn't know anything about running, so I always played sports and everything, but I didn't know anything about running. So I went to a track meet once, and he ran the first race and the last race of a 4-hour track meet, and I was like, wow, this isn't much fun. So I really like the ultra marathons a lot better. When he gets something on his mind, he sticks to it, and he makes sure that he can do that. And so for a while it was military.
I come from a running background, and then once I got out of high school, I joined the military.
Tyler joined the military when we were 18. He dedicated himself to the military.
At that point, I just started falling into drinking and partying, running wild all the time, and it just ended up getting to a point where it was out of control.
I think he made it his mission to be the best. And I don't know if that was if he was trying to prove it to himself or everybody else, but he accomplished his goals in the military, and he's at the top, in special operations. And I read somewhere once, mountains are beautiful, but once you get to the peak, it's the loneliest place you could be, because there's nowhere else but down. And I kind of think that's where he was.
I was, drinking at least a 12-pack a day and just going down the wrong path. I've got 2 kids, a little boy, 10-year-old boy, a 7-year-old girl. I was being hospitalized for drinking and stay out till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I had a wife and 2 kids at home and just was never there. And then I'd come home and sleep just enough to get up and go back to work and get off work and repeat. There are things that stand out. My daughter being in a gas station and walking up to me with a Bud Light can in her hand. It was like, here, Daddy, you gotta have your drink. And for me, even at that point, being an alcoholic and just being in a very dark place, I still knew this ain't it. This ain't the life I'm supposed to be living. It just kept going, and I kept trying to fight it. I'd quit for a week, and then I'd manipulate her back into letting me, hey, I'll just do it, 3 or 4 beers. on a social occasion, and then every single time it would, I was going right back down that path. By the end of it, I had separated myself completely from my family. Didn't care nothing about being around the kids, being around her. Just completely pushed them off. Wasn't in church. They had moved back home a few months before I did. It just was me in the bottle for months, and it just got out of control. I was driving home from North Carolina to Kentucky, and I just started crying. And I was like, man, I don't know what's going on. Like, why am I getting so emotional? I knew what it was. My wife was gone. My kids were gone. I was ready to give up, just to be done. I just gave it all to God, and I said, I surrender. This is it for me. I'm done. I did quit, and then once I quit, I was starting to struggle finding that, to find something to fill that void. Just started running one day, and I was like, this was my first love anyways. Let's see if this will do it. Like, this is how it all came back around. And I started running, and still struggling, trying to figure out my place to fit in after getting out. The military life and the civilian life are two totally different things. And I started looking into this ultra marathon stuff. Why I skipped over going back to the 5Ks and 10Ks and all that, I don't know. I've always been kind of drawn to the aspect of just, let's see how far we can push it. From the day I started running, like, it just gradually kept filling that void. It just keeps me grounded, and it allows me to be passionate about something that is helping me move forward and not pulling me away from the people I love. Day one, going down, Levi, he actually met me pretty early. There was a few people that, had backed out, a few of my Pacers crew. So it turned out that it was just me and Levi. So from the get-go, Levi was put in the spotlight, and he's, locked in from the minute we get there.
I thought 100 was crazy.
Tyler Kelly finishing up the 100-miler.
And then he said 200. I didn't even know that was possible. Tyler's my brother. He's always been the person to push me the hardest out of everybody in my family. He knows how to get me going. I seen him run that 100-mile race, and ever since then I told him, I said, I want to help you any way I can. You've helped me, so I want to pay that back too.
Night before the race, and it's starting to set in, the thought of running 200 miles, but I've got a good support system. Speaking of support, everybody that's reached out prior to me running this, it's greatly appreciated. I definitely couldn't do this without you guys, without all the prayers. It's looking like it's going to be pretty messy. We're looking at some pretty bad weather. It's supposed to rain the whole time. But yeah, that's part of it. I don't want to say you sign up for the pain, but you sign up to put yourself through a hard situation and to grow. So that's what I'm here for, is to come out a better man and to show my kids, what it means to put in hard work, and show them what happens when you do put in hard work. As soon as we got down here, went straight to check in. We checked in at around 3:30.
You're right here. So if you go north on Germantown Parkway and make that left-hand turn right there, and then go into gate 10. You're good to go. Appreciate you. Appreciate everything.
Sleep in the last couple of days?
Not really, man.
Yeah. And then we went over to another part of the course, kind of looked around, trying to figure out exactly how things are laid out. Did a little 25-minute run. Legs felt good. Probably the best they felt in weeks. Was dealing with some shin pain, just feeling beat up. Talked to the coach, Mark, and he got it right. And here we are, day before the race, and we're right on the money. Not really a lot of nerves, just anxious, ready to get started. Feels like it's dragging by. The day before always does. A little bit of a headache. I don't know if it's like a stress headache or dehydrated, what the case is. I'm really hoping it's not a dehydration issue going into a 200-mile race, but some things happen, you know. I think we're gonna get there around 6 or a little before tomorrow morning. We're only maybe a mile from the start line. The race director said we'd be doing the national anthem around 6:15. That's pretty sweet, in my opinion, coming, you know, from the military background. For him to take the time to honor that, I don't know, just kind of a special place in my heart.
Hey, I'm Meg. Nice to meet you. I'm Sherpa.
But yeah, I got to talk to some runners today, meet some new people. Everybody is just ready to get started, I think. Here is the race bib for tomorrow, 217. Ready to go, got the rabbit tights, Norda shoes. Shout out to Norda, some of the best shoes I've put on. Rabbit shirt with the Fleet Feet logo on there. My buddies up at Fleet Feet really hooked me up with some of this gear. Got the logo on the back, Instagram handle down at the bottom, so I think we're ready to go. That's all the gear. Didn't look like much. As you can see, there's a lot of socks in there. That rainy weather that we got coming. Rain jacket right there. Just bought it today. Never had a true rain jacket in my life, but hey, when you plan on getting soaked for 200 miles, you better order a rain jacket. Hyperlight got their mixed drink here. We'll be using tomorrow. And there's why. 100 grams of carbs, 1,000 milligrams of sodium per serving. So that really simplifies things. The Martin caffeinated gel. The hard part's over with. All the preparing, getting things ready, and showing up to the start line healthy. All that part is done. So that's the part I was stressing. We can go ahead and put a check by that box and move on to the start line. 6:30 in the morning. It all goes down. 200 miles, and we're gonna be relentless, as the title of the documentary says. No fear, trust God, and we'll get this thing done. Day one, we show up, the national anthem ends, and everybody heads to the start line. Well, I'm not prepared. I got 2 water bottles I'm needing to fill up, and the race starts. Well, then here comes Tyler in the back. I'm probably 30 seconds behind everybody starting the race, and man, I'm already off to a bad start. Like, I didn't even have my water bottles filled. Got to the first aid station, which was about 10 miles in, and I was probably 7 or 8 miles in at this point. I looked down and I noticed my shirt was soaking wet. I was like, man, I'm like really sweating today. I also noticed that I had already finished my water bottle. And I was like, okay, this ain't normal for me to be drinking this much water and sweating this much. I look at Levi, I'm like, man, I don't know what's going on, but my legs are not there. I feel like I'm pushing way harder. You know, I'm running 9-minute miles at this point, which for me should be relatively easy.
It was a struggle for him. It was. I could see it whenever he got to this aid station the first time. I could tell he was struggling. And then he kept going, and I knew he would.
You know, like, Levi's never been in this situation, so he don't know what to do. He's just like, okay, well, you know, he kind of looks at me like, best of luck, man. See you when you get done with the next loop. I run the little 6-mile loop around on the trail. And once again, I noticed, like, man, I just killed my water bottle again. Like, I'm out of water on a 6-mile loop, and that should not be the case. So I'm kind of panicking at this point. Like, I'm starting to really stress, like, what's the issue here with my hydration? I could eat. When I got to the aid stations, I just couldn't. I was drinking way too much or something. So I get back to Levi, and I'm like, hey, man, I'm really not feeling this. You know, we're 16 miles into the race at this point, and at that point, I was thinking, there's no way I'm making it 185 more miles. It was 87 degrees, and humidity, I have no idea. All I know is like, it's one of those humidities, like you stand still and you're just drenched in sweat. I just grinded that loop out, got back, and I told Levi, I was like, I gotta sit here for a minute. Like I physically can't like go at this point. Like I've gotta wait. And we're 21 miles in, and it's only getting hotter. You know, at this point it's probably 11:30, right around lunchtime. I just told him, I was like, man, you gotta go get me some new shoes. I'm starting to get blisters. I've never had blisters before. I've never had cramping before in a race. So this was all new to me. This was the absolute lowest point of the race for me. And so I walk for a little ways, and then I try to run. I maybe run a quarter mile, and I'm out of breath. I'm cramping, my groin's cramping, hamstrings are cramping, hip flexors feel off. I mean, everything that I possibly could imagine it like making it a bad day has happened in the first loop of the race. Get to the point where I'm probably 15 miles in, and I call my wife, and I'm like, hey, you gotta get down here. I am struggling. She's like, what's going on? I'm like, Amy, I've trained for over, right at probably 8 months at this point for this race. And I've put in 100-mile weeks. I've been consistent, like discipline, like everything that I think that it takes to succeed, I feel like I've done. This is a disaster. I can't figure out what's going on. I don't know that I'm gonna finish this race. I've trained all this time to just feel like it's over in the first loop. I'm crying on the phone, just telling her like, hey, you gotta pray for me. Like, I don't know that I'm gonna finish this first loop, period. I'm having the worst possible day. Like this stuff has never happened. I don't even know what to do. You gotta come down here and like provide some kind of like mental help, or just physically, you and Levi have gotta help me figure out what's going on. Still tears in the eyes, and she's like, I'm coming. I'm like, oh, like I can feel it right now. Like I feel it, like that sense of relief that I got. Like I was so emotional, just wrecked in general. Even people, that were racing with me said they saw me and they were like, dude, you were done. You were completely wrecked. I sat on like a log, try to like regather my thoughts. And one thing I've always, done in times of struggle, just stop, pause, reflect on the situation, and then, I just pray. Stopped what I was doing. I lifted my hands and I was like, I surrender. Like I physically can't do this. So I'm gonna need a higher power to get me through this race, because if it's on me, we're not making it 200 miles. And so I stood up, lifted my hands, and I said, it's all you, God. I ain't got nothing left. And I start walking. One of my best friends, Kendall Pick, he didn't know that I was going to be calling him. So luckily he picked up. He's a guy that I went through some pretty rough times with, different selection processes throughout the military. Been in some real low places with him. And I called him and I was like, hey man, I'm not doing very good. He's like, you're walking. I'm like, dang man, like way to make me feel better about it. Now here I am walking. He calls me out on it, which is exactly what I needed. I needed some accountability. And I talked to him probably, I don't know how long. And the next thing I know, like, he's like, there you go, like I'm running. And I don't even realize I'm running. And he's like, you got that shuffle going. And I was like, yeah. And so from that point, I shuffled quite a ways. And so I get within sight of the starting line. I show him, and he's like, at least get to there, then you can sit down. And about that time, the National Weather Service had contacted James, the race director, and told him to evacuate all runners from the course. Update on the race. Race has been postponed till at least 7 o'clock in the morning. The National Weather Service is actually right next door to the start line, and they came over and told everybody to evacuate the area that they are expecting EF3 and EF4 tornadoes here in Memphis. I was going out on a second loop, and as I was, the race director had made a call to pause the race, which is a good thing for me. So I've been dealing with some cramping today. I've got one loop done, 33.4 miles, and I have never cramped in my life on a race, and then today's the day, as well as some blisters. Never had blisters. So I'm getting everything all at once at the beginning of the race, and it's pushing. It's miserable. It sucks. That's why I came down here, to grow. So me and Levi were just, or Levi, he's never even crewed me in a race, and he gets, everything all at once as well. So I'm throwing everything at him and putting him to the test, and he's still smiling, so we're doing good. I'll see you guys maybe at the finish line.
Blessing in disguise last night. Got the delay and ended up getting out here and feeling great today.
Day 2, they tell us, hey, we're going to resume the race at 7 o'clock. At this point, the course has been changed to one 6-mile loop and one 5-mile loop. So the race from that point on is starting at Tour de Wolf, is the name of the aid station. It's a pavilion. He looked at us and was like, the course is yours. 6-mile loop, come back, 5-mile loop, come back. And we'll just do that until you hit 200 miles. And for a runner, anybody that's ever done like a significant mileage, to think that you have to do 11 miles over and over and over again on the same 2 loops is one of the most mental battles that you could do. However, my training that I did was on pretty much the same loop all the time from Lover's Lane. So in my head, I kept thinking okay, this plays to my advantage.
Total, I am right at a little over 60. Yesterday was rough, but today we're back at it, and we're much better. Got the nutrition down and stuff like that, so we're getting back in the groove now. I'll try to gain the ground and keep on trucking.
I had no chafing, no blisters. That blister I had taken care of, no cramping. My head was in a perfect spot, so I just took back off again. I come back in, and it's kind of a blur. They're there. It's my mom, her boyfriend, and Amy. I'm smiling from ear to ear, and the hug that she gives me is just, it's like she was hugging me all right, I'm here, now let's do this.
Yeah. How many water bottles are you taking?
I'm taking 1 water and 1 Hyper Light, so 500 milligrams sodium an hour. And I've been to the T on that, not missing. And I think that's the difference.
Okay.
Plus the cool temps helping. Yeah, we got a couple hours. I'm gonna try to push through, get through this first 100. I'm way ahead of time right now. So today we're 50 miles in and 10 hours in. I definitely feel the training starting to kick in. The first day I was worried and very frustrated because you put in them 100-mile weeks and you expect to show up out here and just hold a quick pace for as long as you can. But then I bounced back, got my head right. Now it's kicking in. I love y'all.
He's good right now.
Yeah,
Look at him smiling.
we're kicking.
How many miles did you pack?
I'm at 83 right now, or something like that.
All right, love y'all. Okay. Love you.
Love you. All right, guys. See y'all in a little while. Sir.
I ran probably, the majority of the day.
So that's pretty much everywhere on the course.
I don't know what time it was that I hit mile like 100.
It's gonna kind of push this first 100. What a day, though. I mean, from pulling a lady that was stuck with her leg underneath the bridge to now we're on our third course change due to the flooding. I'm still kicking, still moving really well. I think all that training has finally started to kick in.
So for a day and a half, I ran a 6-mile loop. I guess it was a day and a half, something like that, over and over and over. I would come back and be like, all right, how many loops do I got left?
140 in. A little sausage, egg, and cheese right now. Yeah, mentally we're there. We just got to keep the body physically taken care of. Another hot day. 85, sunny, tornadoes tonight. It's the name of the game around Memphis, I guess. Last night wasn't bad. Physically, I was okay. Like I'm hitting everything. I just got really tired. And that's not very normal for me to get tired. I mean, not like that. I definitely get tired and I want to stop. But it was like a vision ordeal. I don't know what it was. Something felt off, and so I had to take 2 naps. 5:45 this morning. I took a 45-minute nap. And I didn't want to get up. I was like, Amy, are you sure maybe I should sleep a little bit longer? And she's like, I think you should probably just get moving.
Ran some more, got to about 150, and I told Amy, I was like, I need to lay down again. I'm getting to that point where I'm sleepy.
158.
158 miles in. Looking good. Stuffing in the food.
Yeah. And so I laid down and got up and then went to stand up, and my foot was in excruciating pain. It was completely bruised. Amy was like, I'll tape it. So she taped it, and I just tightened that thing down as tight as I could. So I would do a loop, come back, get a donut, drink some coffee, take a ketone IQ, and take off. With about 4 laps, so 24 miles, I noticed I was starting to have some shin pain on the right side. And it felt like there was like a water balloon underneath my right shin, and like I could just feel it shaking back and forth with every step. And my left foot at this point is not working right. I can hear it like smacking the ground. And then every time it would smack, the next thing I would feel would be like a water balloon shaking underneath my skin, right in one spot of my right shin. And so the whole time it feels like I'm like limping, like I'm just back and forth. Hurt foot, hurt shin, hurt foot. And this goes on for the rest of the race. And the last 6 miles, I think I ran pretty much the entire way at around a 10-minute mile pace, which was super fast for me at that point. And I could just feel my shin busting. Like all I could think about was how thankful I was for the support from everybody.
This is the moment I've been waiting for. We are on the home stretch. I will be crossing that finish line at probably in the next 5-10 minutes.
I was probably a mile out. And that's all I did the whole way back, was just think of like one individual along the way where, like, hey, this person, and then I'd move on to somebody else. And just think about all the people that like carried me across that finish line.
When my dad runs, I'm proud of him. He's the best runner I've ever seen.
He always gives me this advice, to keep pushing. So, I want him to do it back.
Doing something for good, something that he can be proud of and something that our kids can be proud of. And I think he's finally proud of himself.
Race wasn't just about me, but it was about like setting an example to my kids and to anybody else that thinks that when times get hard, like just give up, let God kick in first. And that's exactly what I did. And for the first time ever, I might have took my own advice. The relentless pursuit to just achieve the goal that had started 8 months prior to this is what got me across that finish line. And at that moment, like, it just felt complete. You know, I had completed what I set out to do. Yeah, so I want to try to start competing, like see how far we can take this thing and, you know, enjoy the journey, keep meeting great people, and, you know, glorifying God along the way. That's my purpose in this journey anyways. Competing is just kind of second nature, so that's it for me.